Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm so excited that you guys are here. And if you're watching on a recording, awesome. We got together a college student and a high school student, and Skyla has a teaching background as well to kind of talk about essential oils. And as we go back to school in 2020, what different things we can use to help ourselves. So my name is Sherry Bennett, and I have been using Young Living oils for over 15 years now. My son Nathan, when he went to school this fall, I should back up a minute. When he first went as a freshman, I didn't really think to give him essential oils and teach him how to do it. But when he came home over spring break and then he went back to school, I gave him the diffuser and gave him thieves and said, please just diffuse this when you're studying and you're in your study groups. And he did it. So I was so thankful for that. I spent some of the summer educating him a little bit more, and I'm going to be sending him back to school with some more oils. But I thought it would be great to hear from college students and high school students themselves, because really, if we don't take time learning from them and educating ourselves, we don't get as much benefit from that. And I think kids like to learn from kids. So we have Christopher with us tonight and Regan with us tonight. They're going to talk. But first, Skyla Mann, who's a diamond with Young Living, is going to tell us a little bit more about the company and the oils. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sherry. This is going to be a really exciting night. I always learn something new, it seems like, when we come together. So I am a resident of Central Iowa. Thankfully, I live close to Nita Upchurch, who is also on this call, and we are blessed to be able to share her home because we are still without electricity. So if you've seen me on Zoom before, you know that this is not my normal background. I've actually upgraded to a beautiful painting tonight, so thank you. But I have been using oils and just really enjoying the benefits of this Young Living lifestyle for about 13 years now. And what I have come to learn is that there is literally an oil for almost everything. And so because they have become an integral part of our life, it is just natural that we kind of want to share that with people, because I would not know how to do life in any other way. When we share with people, one of the most frequently asked questions is, Skyla, what is the big deal between these Young Living essential oils that you talk about all the time and the oils that I see on the grocery store shelf at natural grocers or Whole Foods, or even, dare I say, Target or Walmart? Everybody is carrying them because this is a very, very rapidly growing industry. And people, especially right now, are realizing more than ever that it behooves them to have some tools in their homes that they can use to take care of themselves. And this is a really smart step. But I want you to know that there is a remarkable difference in quality between Young Living, who has this seed to seal process, and all of the others. And what I didn't know back when I started 13 years ago is that everybody else is kind of aspiring to try to get kind of like Young Living. Young Living is the grandfather of this industry and the gold standard, and everybody else is sort of trying to reach that, but kind of failing miserably in the process. So what does the seed to seal process look like? What this means is that Young Living either owns or partners with farms all around the world who are in control of the growing environment. What I mean by that is the soil quality, the seed quality, the process of planting and growing and harvesting. They are in charge of knowing what is put on the plants in terms of fertilizer. We do not use any sort of chemicals for herbicides or insecticides. we actually maintain a standard that is higher than organic standards. Hard to believe, I know, but when you farm according to organic standards, they still allow several chemicals. Young Living does not. And it is a fascinating and very labor-intensive process to grow plants without chemicals. That means a lot of hand weeding, believe it or not. They put sheep in fields to weed. They put sheep in fields to fertilize. Like, it's a fascinating process. And we get to be a part of that. So they own the process all the way from planting the seed all the way up to filling those bottles. They're tested many, many times with third-party testing facilities to make sure that the quality is always exactly where they need it to be. Okay, they want it medicinal quality so that it can do, each of the oils can do in our bodies what those oils were intended to do. This is incredibly important. So when you receive your essential oils from Young Living, they are always stamped with that seed to seal promise emblem. And that means the world to me. In fact, even the boxes that the things come shipped in say seed to seal on them. So my mail lady and my FedEx guy, they all know about seed to seal because all the boxes advertise. And Young Living itself is a 26-year-old company, and they have been doing this professionally, honing this process for longer than anyone else, okay? And so I find it relieves a ton of stress when I know that I don't have to research the ingredients in my oil or where they come from, because I know as soon as that seed to seal stamp is there, it's all good. So is there anything else, Sherry, that you would like to hear from my perspective? Because I'm excited to hear from these students.
Me too. Let's talk to the students. That was wonderful, Skyla.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I think Christopher was going to go first. Christopher, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself and which are the products that you're most excited about and what you like to use?
Yeah, of course. It's good to be on with everybody, and I appreciate you reaching out. So I'm 22, graduated college last year, or I guess this spring. And now in Florida working for the PGA Tour. So my mom has done Young Living for a long time. And at first it was kind of this craze that I didn't believe in. I said, Mom, what are you doing? Like, it's weird, it's goofy. And then I finally gave it a try. I wasn't reluctant like my dad and my brother, and slowly they've gotten into it. But I gave it a whirl, and I enjoyed it, and I learned about it, and I took the time, like you mentioned, Skyla, to understand the purpose of Young Living, and I think that's so important. So I took it in high school a little bit, and then went to college. And when you go to college, you're surrounded by everybody who's the same age as you, essentially. And when you pull a little, a thing of oils out of your pocket or out of your suitcase or whatever you're using, you're going to get a lot of questions. What are you doing? What are you using? What is that? And so it's natural. And I think it's so important to relay that message to people. And my biggest were thieves and purification. My mom sent me with a diffuser. I still have it here. It's to my left. But my bedside is messy, so I won't show that. But I diffuse it every night. It's peaceful. It helps you sleep. And then I think thieves is so important. I put it on my feet every night too, because it keeps you balanced and works with your cells. And your body is something that's so crucial. And just today, there's so many things that go into products that you have no idea what it is. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. So, thieves and purification with the diffuser, and then thieves really on my feet. But then another thing I found out is it's notorious for a dorm room or a house of guys house to smell like shoes because they get a lot of wear and tear. Well, it turns out if you take a cotton pad and you put a couple drops of thieves and a couple drops of purification on it, and then just slide it into your shoes overnight, your shoes are going to smell great for weeks. And it's a super easy process to do. It's refreshing. It smells good. And it's good for you. So that's one of the products that take us to that I really enjoy using. The other is the protein powder. So especially in college, there's a lot of people who like to work out. You're finally on your own. A lot of people don't have the sports surrounding them. but they're using whey protein powder, and they're using all these other GNC products and things like that. And I don't even know what's in them, and that concerns me. With Young Living, you know what's in it, and it's natural products, it's good products, it's seed to seal, and you know what you're putting into your body, and that's so important. And the other thing is protein powder, like a whey or a GNC product, it sucks to drink. It's terrible. It's chalky, and you're going to get like literally, circles of protein powder, and that's disgusting. You don't want to drink that. And Young Living's protein powder is a little finer, and it blends really nicely, and it's super smooth. And I've never had an issue drinking it. It doesn't taste bad. It tastes good. So really enjoyed using that. And along the lines of, health and fitness a little bit, there's Cool Azul. Icy Hot's the huge craze among kids and among, I guess, probably adults too. Shaq's always advertising it on TV. And number one, it's, I don't know, I just don't know what's in it. It's not good for you. And Cool Azul, it's natural. It smells great. You put it on and, you might have somebody smell it, but it's a good smell. And it really helps. So whether you have sore muscles, things like that, it works great on the back, great on your legs. If you ever pull a muscle or strain there. And then obviously hand sanitizer is amazing, especially in 2020. You better have your Thieves hand sanitizer on you around campus, in your dorm room, in your house, things like that. Because at the end of the day, you have no idea who you're around. And a drop of that goes a long ways. Smells good. It doesn't feel weird on your hands like certain products. So really enjoy that. And then finally, the detergent. I think at first I was always like, your detergent needs to make your clothes smell like something. It needs to smell like your detergent using. So a Tide has a significant smell to it, especially when you put as much as people put into their laundry, and you smell that. And finally, with a little help of my mom, I started to understand that why do you want your clothes to smell like something that's, chemically bound, like a Tide, or something like that. And Young Living, it's natural, number one. It's healthy, what's in it. And then it doesn't smell like anything. And so when you're a guy and you want to put cologne on and smell decent, you only smell the cologne, which is crucial. And, for a lady, you put on your perfume and things like that. So I'd much rather smell like nothing and then be able to smell like a cologne than smell like a mix of cologne and detergent and get that right there, because who the heck knows what's in it and things like that. Granted, cologne is not great. I will admit that. But occasionally, I guess it outweighs itself. So yeah, Thieves and Purification, love it with my diffuser. And again, in your shoes, it's fantastic. Hand sanitizer is a must. You got to have it, especially today. Protein powder and Cool Azul for anybody who's into health and fitness. And quite frankly, Cool Azul, you can pull a muscle in your daily activities. Ask my dad. He uses it all the time. And then laundry detergents. So those are what I use. There's other ones too, but those are the kind of essentials that if I were to only get a list of about 6 things, those would all check the boxes for me.
That's awesome, Christopher. Thank you so much. I love to listen to how you were talking about things. It just makes it so easy, I think, when someone's going to school thinking, how am I going to use the products? And one of the things that I'm finding now, a lot of people, when you're walking into buildings, people are making do-it-yourself hand sanitizer. And I just don't really trust some of these facility people that I don't even know to be making some good hand sanitizer.
And it smells like straight vodka. It's
it
terrible.
It does. I'm with you there. So awesome. So should we go over to Reagan then, or should we ask? Why don't we go over to Reagan then, and we can ask questions then at the end. But that was awesome, Christopher. Thank you so much. Okay, can you unmute yourself, Reagan?
Yeah. So my name is Reagan. I am a junior in high school. I'm 16. This year, just with COVID, I have decided to go over to homeschooling. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing with Young Living right now is mostly at home, which I think is really fun because I have a business that I do from home. I do a lot of dog boarding and I work with dogs a lot. And so, Thieves is definitely a big part of my business. And, between every dog, I always clean all of the puzzles and the games and the crate trays, everything with Thieves spray, just because you know, you get into those chemicals and it just smells so bad. And you know that with how much we can smell it, the dogs smell it 20 times more because they have such powerful noses, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of stimulus overload. And so, especially when I have dogs that are a little bit more nervous or anxious, I like to diffuse things like tea away and stress away because they're very calming, and they help a lot to sort of bring down those stimulus overload moments. And it's nice to have relaxing smells when you come into a new environment and you've never been there and you've never met these new people, and it can just be a lot. And so sometimes I guess I feel that way too. And so I like to to sort of share those oils between the dogs and me, and I think that's probably good. But especially when I'm studying or I'm trying to focus on something, you know, when I'm working from home, you never really know what kind of other sounds are going to be around, and I get really easily distracted. And so, you know, our house has really thin walls, and sometimes you can hear my dad playing the banjo in the basement, and that's always exciting. But I like to diffuse cedarwood and lemon because I don't know, they're sort of opposites, but they work really well for me. Cedarwood sort of brings me down and back into focus, and lemon sort of brings me up, and it helps me to focus. Plus, it's just always been my favorite oil, so I like the smell. Oh, but then the other thing about lemon is it's great for cleaning. Back when I was going to public school, I would take lemon with me every day, and sometimes people will just say like, "Oh man, you know, this is really sticky," or like my hands don't feel good or something, and I'll be like, "Oh, you know, here's some lemon. You can. It helps. I promise." That sounds bad, but yeah. So lemon is good for cleaning. I learned that, and that's good.
That's
Okay.
great, Megan. Thank you so much. You know, I didn't really know at first what to use lemon for, but you're right. A lot of times when I'm around schools, there are a lot of like sticky, gross things. So that I'm sure that comes in handy a lot. And I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have anything more you wanted to add?
No, I think I'm probably good.
You did great. You did great. And I'm so excited because I've been meaning to try cedarwood for a while. And when you're talking about cedarwood and lemon together, I bet that just smells amazing. Yeah, good, good, awesome. Well, Nita, did you have some oils that you wanted to talk about too?
Well, it's been a while since I've been in school, but I do remember what school was like. And sometimes, I don't know if other people stress over taking a test or stress over, for me, I was in design school. So I had a lot of portfolios. I had a lot of defending my artwork and defending my creativity. And so you're standing before groups of people in uncomfortable situations. I wish I would have known about these oils then. But what I do know is that there are a lot of oils in Young Living that can help you be stronger, be more courageous, and be clearer. I think Sherry had asked me earlier to mention lavender, and I will mention lavender because it's like the power oil of all oils. If you don't know what oil to grab in any situation, lavender would be the go-to oil. Like, just grab it. I mean, just say, I don't know what to do. What do I do now? Grab lavender. Just do it. Just use it and let it do its magic. Because, you know, the oils kind of travel where they need to be. They find where it needs to be working, and it goes there. Lavender can relax you. Lavender can help recenter you. Lavender can heal burns, sunburn, pizza burns, whatever you have going on. It can heal you in that respect. It's great. It's gentle. You don't have to worry about sensitive skin. You can just put it right on your skin directly. It's not going to hurt. It's just, it amplifies any oil you put it with. It's just a wonderful oil. So But I will say that not all lavender is created equal. So Young Living's lavender is real lavender. It's like, I'm not going to say this word right, but it's like Augustifolio. Oh, I forgot it. Anyway, you don't want to use, there's a hybrid called lavandin. And lavandin is a hybrid plant that does not carry the same properties as real lavender. Our lavender is real lavender. It's grown in France, in Utah, in Montana, and it is the real McCoy. That's why it has all these properties. And so if you go to Target or you go to Kohl's or wherever you're at and you're thinking you're going to pick up a bottle of lavender because it's the power oil, you might be surprised that it could have opposite effects. And just because you don't know what's in it. With Young Living, you do know what's in it. That bottle is 100% lavender. There is no filler. There is nothing added to that. It is slowly distilled, gently pressed, and it is carrying the living frequency of the lavender plant is in that little bottle. And it's magical. And that's the difference. And you could so tell your friends to not just go pick one up at the blue light special.
You know, one of the things that I was surprised about, Nita, and you were the one who told me this, is that Young Living's oils are therapeutic grade and
Yes.
they're 100% essential oils, but other bottles can say 100% essential oils, but that doesn't mean that there's not additional things in it. And so that's not the case with Young Living. So
that's correct. So actually the FDA only requires a company to get for them to say organic, pure oil, they really only need to have 5% of oil in that bottle. The rest of that bottle can be filler. And their filler can be whatever they choose to fill it with. It's like they don't have to disclose what that is. And Young Living, so I will say there's 4 grades of oil, and therapeutic grade oil is the top grade that you can possibly get. And there's like a criteria that you need to be classified as therapeutic grade. It takes a lot of work to get that label. And so any company that's achieved those criteria and they've earned the therapeutic grade label, they're going to put it on their label because that's a very big honor to have that. But I will say that there's like a criteria that you have to fall into. So if this is what they say you need to be a therapeutic grade, Young Living is like up here. So they go past what they need to do to be therapeutic grade. If there was a super therapeutic grade, that would be Young Living, but they don't make one of those. So I will say that even if you are buying a therapeutic grade oil, you're still not guaranteed the purity that Young Living has. If you go to a store and you buy an oil that says therapeutic grade oil on it, you're not absolutely sure. They don't have to disclose on the label everything that they put in that bottle. So I'm still saying just stick with Young Living because you are guaranteed with that seed to seal, like Skylis talked about, you're guaranteed that that bottle is 100% pure oil. And that's why only 1 drop or 2 drops can do a lot. Whereas if you go to another company or another brand, you might use 10 or 15 drops to get somewhere. And so, that 1 or 2 drops is huge. So that is true. So 5% FDA requires, that's kind of scary.
That is. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And when I was thinking about what oils I'm going to send Nathan back to school with this fall when he eventually goes back, I don't know when that's going to be, but he goes to University of Kansas, and luckily he can do a little bit of remote, and hopefully he'll go back. But I'm definitely going to send him with the Panaway in case he has some pain. Definitely peppermint. Peppermint is so good for staying awake and keeping alert. Digize is so good for digestion, and the Raven right now for respiratory. So you can put Raven on your chest if you have any respiratory issues. I'm trying to think, and I think Valor is always my favorite. It's so balancing and so wonderful. I probably will give him some Valor as well when he goes back to school. So anything else that you can think of that high school or college students might want? I think, Nita, we were talking about some of the blends real quickly.
Yeah, well, one thing that a college student is going to want, I don't know about a high school student, but I remember how I ate when I was in college, which I have lived to tell the tale, so that's a good thing. But DiGize would be huge to take, because you're eating maybe things that you weren't eating at home because you have the freedom to eat whatever you want now. And so DiGize, if you have any kind of indigestion, and I even find that if you have butterflies in your stomach, like say you're kind of nervous about a presentation, DiGize can actually help calm your butterflies as well. And that's so easy. You just rub a little on your tummy or your stomach and it goes away. But if you don't want that, like Christopher was saying, maybe you don't want that cologne on you, that DiGize cologne, you can always take a sip of it. You can drink it in a tea or a glass of water, and it can do the same thing for you. You could put a little bit under your tongue. Any of those things would help with that. Put it on the bottom of your feet even. I don't know. Would that work, Skyla, on the bottom of your feet? Yeah, it would. Okay, she's shaking her head yes. Yay, Nita. So DiGize would be huge for that. And then another, like Valor would be great for college students, is college kids that are giving talks or presentations. It gives you courage. That's like, college puts you in situations that you wish you didn't have to live through, but they are growing things. So you start graying when you're about 20, I don't know. But anyway, but so I would say DiGize, and I was thinking there was another one. Sherry, what did you talk about? Skyla, do you have some input here?
Oh, maybe Peace and Calming. I think Peace and Calming was another one that we talked about.
Yeah,
and
Skyla, go on to that. Get on that, Skyla.
Yeah. Yes. So the other thing that I was going to say that is one of our cornerstone products that I have felt as a mom was essential to send to college and to high school, but it's Ningxia Red. And this is our easiest vitamin liquid drink to get into the body that we offer. We have incredible supplements, but Ningxia Red is just so simple, and it comes in individual little packs. I was just looking in my purse to see if I had one to show you. I don't know that I do. But you can either get little 2-ounce packages, or it can come in a 25-ounce bottle. And either way, it's delicious. It has a wonderful fruity berry kind of taste. But it is loaded with antioxidants and vitamins and nutrients that our bodies crave. And when you're in college, and sometimes even when you're in high school, you are hurried in the morning and you don't always eat that stellar breakfast that might engage the brain and get you going on the right foot. Taking a Ningxia Red packet and getting that down on the way to class is a great next to, it's the next best thing, okay? I still think eating right, you can't out supplement. Oh, Nita, thank you. Nita's showing you the Ningxia Red packet there. You can't out supplement a good diet, okay? I'm never ever gonna profess that, but there are also things that we just aren't getting enough of in our food. And so that happens to be one of those products that I feel like fills in the gaps. And while my mic is turned on really quick, I want to share 2 other things that as a mom of a student, I just feel really good because, you can't send the entire, homeopathic wellness toolbox with your kids. They won't have it, okay? But there's 2 things that I felt like made life really easy when we sent our girls to college. One of them is inner defense. Okay, so you heard Christopher and Sherry talk about thieves and how important that is. This is like thieves in a capsule, but they're already capsulated for you. And that makes life really easy. So you can take these proactively to make sure that you're not catching anything, which is a great idea in 2020. You can also hit them hard if you start feeling something coming on. You just get on that frequent flyer program and you just start downing them until all signs are gone, okay? The other thing that I always wanted to make sure our kids had are the thieves lozenges or the thieves cough drops, either one. But I have found for myself that when I start to get that telltale tickle in my throat, if I can nip that in the bud, it does not turn into anything. If I ignore it, sometimes that can lead to something that takes a little bit longer. So these are magnificent. These also are made of thieves. Okay, that is the active ingredient in here. And I absolutely love them. They last a freakishly long time. So I challenge any student to see if they can keep one of those in their mouth throughout an entire class. I bet you can. I sometimes tuck them between my cheek and gum and go to sleep, and we'll wake up at 4 in the morning and still have a cough drop. I think that's so bizarre. So anyway, those are just two things that as a mom, I feel like if my kids have those with them, they are going to be fine. Even if they call home and say, I don't feel good. I'm like, go to that box and get out your inner defense and start taking them. So.
That's awesome, Skyla. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, you know, I just realized as you were talking, we didn't really talk about what essential oils are. And so they're not really oils. They're kind of the lifeblood of plants. So if you want to expand on that, that's kind of just my capsule. But if you want to expand on that a little bit, that might be helpful for someone who hasn't really heard of essential oils before.
You bet, Sherry. I'm sorry. I think I was supposed to cover that part. So think of it this way. Every plant, every tree, even every leaf and piece of fruit that is grown has a liquid that is literally pulsating through it. It is, like Nita said, it is a living substance. And I always say that in those plants, the purpose of that substance is to defend it from anything that might be trying to attack it. It's to strengthen it, and it's to provide nutrients that carries it from the roots all the way out, you know, to the outer branches and leaves. So when it is distilled properly, and that's the key, okay, because some of our oils have to be heat distilled, steam distilled, some of them have to be cold pressed, and only a seed to seal certified, you know, distiller knows the difference. So when they are distilled properly, as those things are captured in the bottles, when we use those oils, and we can use them topically, aromatically, or internally, they will provide the same therapeutic benefits in and on us as they do to the plant that they came from. And I just find that fascinating. So because we're using natural stuff, it works in agreement with our bodies. And here's the other fascinating thing to me about essential oils. They are not made to swing the pendulum of your body far in one direction or the other. Like, say, an over-the-counter, you know, something that you might go get at the drugstore. And I always, the easiest example, we've talked a lot about Digest tonight. It's kind of taken the center stage. But the easiest example for me to explain this with, and it's kind of gross, so, okay, I'm giving you a warning if you want to hit the mute button. But if you're like really backed up and you just can't go, and you go down to the drugstore, they're going to give you something that has one job. And that's to break everything loose and help you go, right? But what if you have diarrhea and you literally can't stop? You march down to the same drugstore and they're going to say, oh, no, not the blue box. Now you need the yellow box. I'm making those up because I haven't bought anything at the drugstore for 13 years. I have no clue what color the boxes are. But my point is, those are two clearly different products for two clearly different problems. Now, think about a natural homeopathic remedy. with essential oils, their job, like DiGi's, is to bring you into balance. So believe it or not, you will use the same oil no matter which side of the spectrum your body is on. Isn't that fascinating? It took me a long time to get that into my head, that these oils are working with us. They're not trying to slam us one side or the other. And all of them do that. Okay, so it's just fascinating. But that's the benefit of using natural products with our bodies. They were meant to just absorb them, and like Nita said, put them to use wherever they need to go. And our bodies are intelligent enough to know how to deliver them where they need to go, which is awesome.
That's so great, Skyla. Thank you so much. That was a great description. And you know, we want to be able to describe how to use these products so you have confidence and know what you want to do. And it's really surprising to me how fast the products work when you're using them. It's good. The other thing I just would mention real quick is some of the blends that might be great when you're in college. And I'll just mention some of the names. The names are very descriptive. So if anyone is listening to this and wants some more information about it, they can let us know later on. But when I think of college and high school students, clarity, brain power, motivation, common sense. Parents might want to diffuse some common sense. Highest potential, genius. I just recently got Genius and started diffusing that, and I love how that smells. So those are some that came to mind for me, and I'm sure there's others. I think, you know, with the company that's been in business as long as Young Living has, and all of the research that has been done, there are a lot of different products to do a lot of different things. So if you don't have one and it's not working for you, then there's another one that you can try. So at least that's been my experience. So thank you so much. This was so much fun. And why don't we go ahead and open it up for questions? Or maybe you want to talk about what the next steps are, Skyla, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next steps are the exciting steps, because once you hear that there are possibilities for health and wholeness and hope, you're like, okay, I've heard enough. Tell me what to do. So the easiest thing that you can do is connect with the person who shared this video with you, okay? And you are going to get to choose how you want to get started. And it's easy because Young Living has already put together some fantastic collections, and those are what people start with the most frequently. One of them comes with 12 oils and a diffuser. One of them, you could choose an entire 2 months worth of Ningxia Red. And those two oftentimes go together really beautifully. And then there's another kit that I love. And sometimes even as a seasoned member, I still buy this kit over and over. And that is a whole house makeover kit with all the thieves products that you could ever hope to have. So depending on what you are targeting first, you may choose all three, or you may choose, you know, I'm going to start with one, I'm going to add the other ones in, whatever, but you get to customize how you begin. And that makes it really fun. If you have heard about some of the oils, like the ones that Sherry just mentioned, some of the blends, a few of those are not in the starter kit, but the good news is you can add in whatever fits for you. So personalize it, make it yours. You will enroll, you'll get your own account with Young Living. So here's another piece of good news. That means that if you enroll with Sherry, you don't have to call Sherry at 10 o'clock at night and say, Sherry, I would like to order more thieves. Even though Sherry is delightful to talk to at 10 o'clock at night, she may be like, hey, guess what? You have your own website and you can order all by yourself. So it's nice. We hook you up to the company through one of us, and then you have your own account, your ability to order as often or as seldom as you would like. That's all up to you. Wholesale membership does have its benefits. It gets you 24% off anytime you make a purchase. And there are some other money saving programs that are available. So make certain that whoever it is that shared this with you, make sure that you ask them, how can I save the most money? Okay, because there are some exciting additional opportunities. The other thing that I just want to let you know is that Young Living also rewards us very generously when we share Young Living with other people. So you might have noticed that there's no Young Living commercials generally on TV or on the radio. There are a few billboards, particularly if you're around the Salt Lake City area, you'll see Young Living on billboards, but we get to be their advertising campaign. And so whenever you share it with somebody, they will send you a commission check. Well, actually, they will deposit money automatically. I should clarify that, because they've even gone environmentally friendly on the checks. So we don't do paper checks any longer, but it gets dropped directly into your account once you link that up. So I always just like to share that, and that is a sort of an added bonus, I guess. But I will say we never could have ever predicted the deviation of our life path that it took when we started sharing Young Living with other people. I could have never guessed that that would be what we would be doing for a living now. And I love every bit of it because it has provided a lot of freedom and opportunities that we may not have realized without it. So don't be afraid to share what you love with other people, especially in this capacity, because you're going to be double blessing them with the products and blessing yourself with a little additional income. And as far as I know, it's always a good idea to have multiple streams of income flowing, especially right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Skyla. That's great. That's great. And I guess, should we go ahead and stop the recording and then we can answer any questions?